Chairman Shelby, Ranking Member Sarbanes, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today to discuss the crisis of confidence in the mutual fund industry. I'm the founder and president of Benchmark Financial Services, a firm that investigates money management abuses primarily on behalf of public pension funds. The matters we examine typically involve esoteric breaches of fiduciary duty by brokers, money managers, many of whom manage mutual funds, and pension consultants. I've worked in financial services for over 20 years. I originally started as an attorney with the Division of Investment Management of the SEC in 1983 and subsequently served as associate counsel and director of compliance of the Putnam Companies. From 1990 through 1997, I owned a soft dollar brokerage firm, so I have a great deal of familiarity with the soft dollar industry. Years ago, unfortunately, I was referred to in an article as the Sam Spade of money management, and I'm sorry to say the name has stuck with me. I have also been called the nation's most vocal critic of money management abuses. Over the past 10 years, I have written about and spoken about illegal and unethical activity in the mutual fund industry. In the course of the investigations my firm has undertaken, I've collaborated with the FBI, law enforcement, and the SEC to actively pursue those involved in wrongdoing involving the mutual fund industry and the money management industry in general. It's a real pleasure, after so many years in the industry, to witness the dawn of an era of heightened public scrutiny of mutual fund practices. The harm to investors related to the mutual fund industry's betrayal of the public trust is tremendous. How big is the price tag? It's clear to me that over the years, a significant portion of mutual fund investment advisory fees that investors have paid is excessive. Our firm in 2003 conducted a survey of 100 pension funds and the investment advisory fees they actually pay. The findings of our survey indicated that the pricing of institutional investment advisory services is somewhat irrational. That is, even institutions sometimes pay excessive money management fees. We found that some pensions are actually paying as much as 4 times the fees as others for the exact same services. Our conclusion was that pensions need to be more informed regarding fees, negotiate more vigorously, and carefully draft most favored nations provisions for inclusion in their contracts with managers. These clauses are designed to assure that the funds receive the lowest fees that the money managers have to offer. As bad as the news is about the pension investment advisory fees, it's my perception that for mutual fund investors it's far worse. We've actually seen mutual funds that pay up to 10 times the advisory fees that pensions pay for the same services from the same managers. There is no good reason for mutual funds to pay these excessive fees. I have concluded that mutual funds pay excessive management fees simply because the fund's boards of directors fail to fulfill their fiduciary duties and do not vigorously negotiate fees with managers. And it's the nation's mutual fund investors who are paying the price. I recommend that the fiduciary duty of mutual fund trustees be strengthened. And in discharging their duties, I believe that fund trustees should negotiate most favored nations clauses in their contracts with every fund manager.
What do you mean by the most favored nation clause?
Most favored nations clause is where you, the money manager, represent to the client you are giving him your best rate for an account that size. It's your best price.
Okay.
Elliot Spitzer has also endorsed this proposal and called for it recently in a Forbes article. Members of the fund's boards of directors who are affiliated with the fund managers face obvious conflicts of interest that may make them resist vigorous negotiations with fund managers. These conflicts would be eliminated by requiring a supermajority of independent directors on fund boards and an independent fund chairman. The mutual fund managers will resist such negotiations to reduce fees. Excessive investment advisory fees enable fund managers to comfortably enter into revenue sharing arrangements with brokers. Revenue sharing results in tremendous amounts of money being paid to brokers that agree to push the funds. Mutual fund brokerage commission rates related to portfolio trading are also in excess of what they should be and are intentionally kept high by managers who want to use the excess to compensate brokers for selling fund shares. Another practice that I wanted to discuss was that of using soft dollars to purchase goods and services. I believe that Congress should repeal the safe harbor for soft dollars. However, if soft dollars continue to be allowed, the amount of soft dollars should be disclosed and included in computing management fees, since soft dollar amounts are, in reality, another form of manager compensation. Many pensions actually do this. They will add into a money manager's fee the cost of soft dollars. As a result of using client commissions for marketing and research, fund investors are essentially giving huge amounts of money in commissions for the business expenses and interests of mutual fund money managers. Fund directors should ensure that the client funds are used to benefit the investors. I believe it is inappropriate to use fund assets to pay the ICI, the industry lobby group, because I have not seen that it has historically advocated in the best interests of mutual fund investors, and thus investors do not benefit from the ICI receiving their money. I bring to your attention an article from Forbes dated February 15, 2003, entitled "Your Money at Work Against You," in which Neil Weinberg and Emily Lambert have stated similar views. In short, the ICI, quote, uses the money to oppose virtually every pro-investor initiative to come out of the SEC or Congress. Mutual fund investors are treated as second-class citizens by many money managers. Mutual fund investors are typically far less fee and performance sensitive than institutional accounts, and these accounts are less profitable to money managers than hedge funds. In the mutual fund industry, assets under management has unfortunately come to mean assets used by management. Therefore, in the face of the ethical shortcomings that have surfaced, there's a stronger need for Congress to protect mutual fund investors. The serious problems that I have mentioned have been long-standing. While some believe that these transgressions are surfacing at this time, that the transactions that are surfacing at this time were desperate measures adopted by the mutual fund industry as assets under management plummeted around 2000, I can assure you from personal experience that improper and unethical activity has been pervasive in the industry for over 20 years. The effect that the problems with mutual funds have had on the nation's retirement savers is tragic. The entire investment return attributable to an individual's retirement account over a lifetime may be eaten away by excessive fees and other malfeasance. I believe that skimming by the mutual fund industry is a significant factor in explaining why the nation's retirement savers will enter into retirement with lesser assets than they envisioned. While we cannot eliminate the potential for poor investment decision-making, we must seek to ensure that investors have clear disclosure of the information necessary to make good investment decisions, and most importantly, are treated fairly. And when the industry fails to do this itself, we must have statutes and regulations that promote this. We want mutual fund investors to succeed, and we want as many of these investors to succeed as possible. Every success strengthens our society, and every time an investor is robbed of his hard-earned savings, our society suffers. It is time to put an end to self-dealing by the mutual fund industry and provide mutual fund investors with the protections they always thought they had. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Traynor.